Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an incredible story like this one. The invitation arrived on an ordinary Tuesday, slipped under the door with the quiet elegance that matched its contents. It was a thick, matte black card with golden embossed letters that shimmered faintly when caught in the light. It read, Valencorp CEO Dinner, an evening of leadership and vision. My name, Jessica Pierce, was printed beneath, elegant and formal. I stared at it for several minutes, the quiet hum of our kitchen around me fading into the background. An invitation to this event was no small thing. It was exclusive, a rare chance to step inside the world that had shaped my husband Jonathan's life. A world of power, prestige and sharp suits. The world of Valencorp's top brass, the CEO, the coup, the board of directors. I folded the card carefully, feeling the weight of it in my hands. Jonathan had always been cagey about his work life, the endless meetings, the pressure, the high stakes. But this invitation was personal. It was for me. And yet, despite the warmth in Jonathan's eyes when he handed it to me, a knot of anxiety twisted inside me. I was the woman behind the scenes, not the spotlight. I managed the household, the schedules, the chaos of a busy life, yes, but I wasn't a businesswoman, not the kind who belonged in boardrooms or dinner parties filled with CEOs and investors. Was I ready to be seen in that world? That evening, as I dressed in front of the mirror, I tried to convince myself I was. I chose a sleek black dress, understated, elegant, nothing flashy, and pinned my hair up carefully. I wore simple pearl earrings, a gift from Jonathan, a symbol of steadiness and tradition. I didn't want to shout, but I wanted to be noticed. Jonathan arrived home early that night, his presence filling the room. He looked sharp in his tailored suit, his smile warm but laced with the fatigue of someone who carried heavy responsibilities. He took my hand, holding it gently. You look stunning, he said softly. Tonight, they'll see the woman I see. I nodded, but the pit in my stomach didn't ease. The car ride to the venue was quiet. Jonathan's fingers tapped impatiently on his knee as the city lights flickered past. The building was an architectural marvel, a sleek glass skyscraper piercing the night sky. The penthouse floor was transformed into a private dining room, where the city stretched out beneath us like a map of sparkling stars. Inside, the atmosphere was thick with expectation. The air smelled of perfume, polished wood, and expensive whiskey. Men in tailored suits leaned close to whisper deals. Women in shimmering gowns laughed quietly over champagne flutes. I felt their eyes on me, not the admiring kind, but the curious, the dismissive. Jonathan introduced me with pride to several colleagues, but I sensed the polite distance. These people were used to power players and influential guests. And here I was, a woman without a title, without a stake. Then came Victor Harley, the coup. He was a tall, imposing man with a steely gaze that cut through the room like a laser. When Jonathan introduced me, Victor barely concealed his surprise, his eyes flicking over me as if I were an unexpected glitch in the system. A pleasure, he said, voice low and measured. But minutes later, as the wine flowed and the laughter grew louder, Victor's true feelings became clear. At one point, while Jonathan was engaged in conversation, Victor sidled up beside me. his voice barely above a murmur. "I don't get it," he said. "Why are you here?" I blinked, surprised. "This dinner isn't for companions," he added, with a faint sneer. "It's for people who matter, people who make decisions." His words felt like a slap, cold and cutting. The subtle but unmistakable message was clear. I was nobody. For a moment, I felt my throat tighten, the sting of invisibility threatening to swallow me whole. But then something inside me shifted. I straightened my back, lifted my chin. "Do you want to know why I'm here?" I asked quietly. Victor raised an eyebrow. Intrigued despite himself, I glanced toward Jonathan, who was still speaking with others but watching us with a cautious expression. I nodded slightly, a silent signal. He gave a small approving smile. Stepping back. Before Jonathan became CEO, I began, my voice steady. "Before any of you sat around tables making decisions about mergers or layoffs, there were thousands of people who depended on this company to feed their families." Victor's eyes narrowed, his expression unreadable. "I manage the payroll and finance for Pierce Holdings," I continued, watching the ripple of surprise spread through the nearby guests. "I make sure those paychecks get signed. On time. Every time." The room grew quieter, the chatter dimming as a few curious glances turned toward me. Victor's smirk faltered. "You handle payroll?" he asked, disbelief mingling with a grudging respect. I nodded. "Yes. Without that, the whole company stops. The operations, the promises, the trust. Everything hinges on the people who keep the wheels turning behind the scenes." The woman closest to me, a sharp-eyed director named Helena, clapped softly, a slow smile spreading across her face. Others followed, their expressions shifting from amused dismissal to genuine interest. Jonathan stepped forward, pride clear in his eyes. "Jessica makes sure our people are cared for. Without her, there would be no company to lead." Victor looked down for a moment, then back up at me, his voice quieter, the edge gone. "I underestimated you." I smiled, a quiet triumph settling in my chest. "And that's why I'm here. Because the real power isn't just in titles or speeches. It's in the promises we keep, to every employee, every family." The room felt different now. The earlier coldness replaced by respect, curiosity, even admiration. People approached me, eager to learn more, to connect. The invisible woman had become undeniable. Later, as the night wound down and we prepared to leave, Jonathan took my hand again, his eyes shining. "You showed them," he said simply. "No," I replied, looking out at the city skyline, the lights twinkling like the stars they mimicked. I reminded them, and as we stepped into the elevator, the doors closing behind us, I knew something had shifted. Not just in their eyes, but in mine. I wasn't just Jonathan's wife. I was a force in my own right. The woman who signed their paychecks. The woman nobody would ever call a nobody again.